Hello there, Vault Dweller. You're finally awake. It's about darn time. You've been asleep for quite some time. You and your pals here. You fellas are currently in our prison. Sorry for the humble accommodations. We weren't expecting so many of you all at once. You folks are about to become a part of something so much bigger than yourselves. Why, you're about to be a part of our drug empire, of course, you silly, stupid little animal, and you are going to be some of the most important cogs in this much larger machine. Synthesizing Nutramine, cooking up some jet, maybe even some other drugs starting today, though jet is our specialty. Well, until you're ready, I guess you could just sleep it off in your cell. Let me know when your spirit is broken, okay? We are currently right in the middle of working on research into energy turrets, i.e. laser and plasma turrets, some of the most dangerous and badass weapons that the Wasteland has to offer. And once they're completed and we have some of them installed, our little drug empire here is going to be well defended. Perhaps one of the most well defended places within our general vicinity and region, I would say. Though of course research can take quite a bit of time, so how about we do a bit of trading with our raider pals of the Rancid Hawks, who are always looking to feed their addictions with our high quality pharmaceuticals. We've recently come into a bit of jet, with that being 528 jet. They would take as much as they could, with that being 376 jet, as that's all that they could afford. We have truly come a pretty far ways along, have we not? Now we are producing so much that our clientele is struggling to go about purchasing it all. I mean, sure, we kinda killed a bunch of Vault Dwellers and took it from them, but you know what I mean. Same thing, right? We were quick to take all those caps and shove them down the great big hole in the floor into the bunker beneath our base, quickly running down the ladder as well to make sure that we stored them all properly in our cargo containers. We had so many caps, in fact, that I would actually have to build a second cargo container to contain all of our riches. There are entire cities in the Wasteland that don't have this many caps circulating through them. Pretty crazy. But even more crazy than that, all the psychoid leaves that we're growing in our growing zones down here, fueled by all the chem fuel that we also stole from the Vault Dwellers. We have quite the stockpile of the leaves, but instead of just using them all on flake, I also want to, as I kind of previously touched on, start working on other types of drugs as well. So we're actually going to be using a lot of these leaves from this harvest to go about making yayo. Yayo is yet another crucial ingredient similar to flake in many different types of drugs, but in our case in particular, psycho. A bit of a harder pharmaceutical in comparison to jet in my opinion, but one that is also a bit more profitable. Not by much though, I think it's only like 5 caps. It's 60 I think for jet and 65 for psycho, something like that at the market value, so not that big of a deal, but it does add something that we haven't had this entire time: variety. And that is quite important because raiders don't just like to huff on jet, they also like to inject things into their bodies and go on killing sprees. You understand. Speaking of raiders, our own raider settlements that we have recently settled have finally began bringing us our tithe of herbal medicine after their farms have been set up properly, which is absolutely wonderful. Our operation has increased and expanded exponentially since we founded our drug empire, and our storage area is overflowing with ingredients and herbal meds. Just as well, our lab itself is very disheveled and unorganized. One thing is clear, and that is that we need a major overhaul of our lab as a whole as soon as possible. But right now, it looks like we finished our research into energy turrets, and so we are going to begin working on those before we overhaul the base a bit. Now, as I mentioned, this unlocks plasma and laser turrets, so we have our pick between the two of them, and they have similar resource costs, except plasma turrets require chem fuel and less components, as well as laser turrets requiring a bit more components, but requiring silver instead of chem fuel, as you can see. I did want to use less components, as they're quite crucial to a lot of the things that we plan on building in the future, but unfortunately, plasma turrets don't have the same range as laser turrets, so I ended up using more components to go about building a couple of laser turrets in each each of the perimeters around the base. Now, this just means we're gonna have to kill more Vault Dwellers at some point for more components probably, but that's okay. Besides, we were going to do that anyway. Now, with our new dangerous defending turrets in place, I think it's time we start working on the overhaul. First and foremost, we have our secondary growing room up top up here that we don't really need anymore since we're going to be growing more food in the other room and we have all our psychoid leaves downstairs, so we are quickly converting this into our storage facility. A dedicated room, not just kind of smacked right into the workshop, which is what we were doing previously, I'm afraid. But no longer, of course, and as you can see, this is definitely going to be much more organized as we are using more of these cargo containers as we have been doing down in the bunker to store all of our caps from any prying or thieving eyes, of course. The cargo containers themselves have much higher storage capacity, obviously, than your normal shelves, even the modded large shelves, and so they are perfect for storing stone blocks and wood and other junk that we don't need out in the open. But the main reason that we're doing this is because it also frees up space in our drug laboratory, allowing us to expand it as well as put in new workstations and items and things that we need in here, as well as storage facilities, because we'll be able to put in Angus's mech recharger into our workshop now, as well as some of the other stuff like our VTAB machine, things like that. A bit boring and analytical, so I apologize, but it is quite crucial to the growth of our empire and our production of drugs. Speaking of which, we are going to be replacing our old drug labs with some brand new electric ones, which means that they are already much faster inherently. How much faster, I hear you ask? Well, allow me to show you. Your typical drug workshop has a 100% work speed factor, while the electric ones have 150%. That's a 50% increase, obviously, but it can be much higher. By adding in some appropriate workstations to help out with the speed and just the, I suppose, convenience of making drugs, as well as some Vault Tech servers, courtesy of Johan and Nelly's intellect into the field of Vault Tech technology, as well as a terminal for us to keep up with records and production and blah 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 blah. All this to say, with these new changes overhauling our laboratory, we have basically doubled our speed at which we produce Jet, Psycho, and any other drugs that we so choose. Our clientele is going to be tickled plum pink to hear that we are producing drugs twice as fast as before. And now that we have some enslaved vault dwellers who specialize in crafting, this also frees us up to go about doing other minute tasks and things that we couldn't really focus on before around the base before we had enslaved them. But not all the vault dwellers were quite as useful. Take Otto here, for example. Otto is a sickly pyromaniac psychopath who only can do shooting, melee, and animals. Why the hell did we even enslave him? Guess I wasn't paying attention when I was deciding who to kill and who to take. Useless inbred fool. Absolutely useless. As soon as I have the chance, I'll be selling you into slavery. And even then, I'm barely getting my money's worth for the food and water that we've been wasting on you. Ugh, whatever. Anyhow, though, let us begin working on some new research into addictol production. I said this in the last episode, but the reason we're doing this is because addictol will clear people of their addictions, and so we will be selling what gets them addicted and what gets them unaddicted. Perfect business model. As we know, though, research will take some time, so in the meantime, son of a... Are you kidding me? A slave rebellion. Well, I know what you're thinking. Probably the same as me. This is the perfect opportunity to kill Otto. Well, Otto is not rebelling. The most useless slave of all, not rebelling. A massive shame, because that also means that the useful ones are. We've got Brumbles rebelling. I don't think she'll be all that difficult to stop from rebelling, so I'm actually going to just rush in. We'll beat her down. The more difficult and or interesting to deal with are definitely going to be Lee and Thatcher, who, let's plot out their path. They'll have to either come this way and go this way, which is probably how they'll go to try to escape, or they'll probably go out this way and come through the hallway and and try it. So we do have Helen here, but Helen is kind of injured. And because of that, I am going to allow Helen to go about using her axe. I hope that she doesn't kill either Lee or Thatcher, or cut off any of their hands, because we need them for making drugs, but we need her to be able to defend herself. Luckily, I am coming in as well to assist her, and let's see, I guess we'll bring Melissa up too. And then once everybody else is done dealing with Brumbles, they can all come and help us out. So we've got Lee and Thatcher. They're not really running away though. Oh, they are going up this way actually. Okay. All right, we have encountered Brumbles. We've already beaten Brumbles down. We'll have Garrick and Nellie come up here and take on Thatcher and Lee. Helen, please don't cut his head off or his hands. He needs both. Please. Okay, swap back over to fists. That way there's no risk of killing them. They are very, very useful to the operation. There we go. You little silly billies. Ah, perfect. Slave rebellion over. Try to, enslave them again. It wouldn't take that long, but still a huge pain in the ass. It's a very good thing we have all this herbal medicine coming in as a tithe from our settlements, which we still need to go about naming, of course. But this way we can tend to all these injuries. I don't want to waste any stem packs on them, as they're not near as affordable as herbal medicine, of course. I will say as well, normally I wouldn't want to expend our herbal medicine, but we're getting a lot in tithes, and I mean a lot. They're growing the absolute shit out of it. We have 1,226 currently in storage, so I'm completely fine with using that for bruises and cracks. It's really not that big of a deal. I will say, of course, though, we probably have a little bit too much. We're really not even using it that much in our drug crafting, so something I've considered, and something a few of you have been mentioning, of course, is that we should go about maybe trying to make allies with Vault 58. And I'm sure that Vault 58, just like every other settlement of faction in the Wasteland, wouldn't mind some medicine. So we might try to make that a part of our little peace offering basket, our gift basket to them. Looks like, speaking of which, we have, oh man, we have one of our factions getting attacked by the Enclave with a attacking power of 4. This is our outer settlements here. I mean, we'll be able to set a defending force, we already do, but as you can see, we only have a power of 1. We desperately need to spend a lot of our caps to go about upgrading our militaries and the settlements for our little proxy raider gang that we have, our little raider faction. But that's something we'll be doing in the near future, I suppose. And by near future, I mean once we start making some more drugs, thus making us more money, such as the new drug known as Med-X, which also requires a bit of smoke leaf, something up until this point we've yet to start growing. But we will now be doing so, that way we can produce some. Variety, variety, more variety. As we have our Vault Dweller slaves producing more and more drugs, I think that it's time that we start upgrading the base a bit. Now, I talked about overhauling our storage facilities as well as our drug lab, and of course we did so. But something we've yet to overhaul is our prison. And so we are going to be putting in some much more comfortable scrap metal beds, as well as end tables, things like that, and building them a proper bathroom. This might not seem like something that's all that important, but of course a decent prison is going to recruit and or enslave prisoners much faster. And I'm sure you'll agree with me that when it comes to making drugs like ours, speed is almost as important as quality. Obviously though, we couldn't just have the prisoners being the only ones with new accommodations, now could we? We ended up fixing everyone's bedrooms up just a little bit at the very least, getting rid of some of the bedrolls in the ancient beds, replacing them with some of the nicer scrap metal beds. Along with that, I also thought we should probably give them a better bathroom with some proper toilets and some much better showers. Not only will this just make everyone a bit happier, of course, but with these better latrines, I suppose you could call them, this actually means that they'll do their business a bit faster, and they'll be able to get back to work a bit faster too. While we're still on the topic of bathrooms, I also decided to put one into the drug lab with a shower and working toilet as well. Not only as a secondary bathroom for the base, but this way our slaves don't have to walk across the entire facility to go about using the restroom, cleaning up, that sort of thing, and they can spend even more time in the laboratory making more products. Speaking of which, we also finished up our research into addictol production. Oh, finally. I am very much eager to go about producing some, though it would appear that it requires industrial medicine. I don't think that'll be an issue, especially not for the price. As you can see, Addictol is actually worth much more than any of the other drugs that we are capable of creating, including Jet, Psycho, and Buff Out, meaning that it is going to be our real money maker. There are a few catches though, such as the fact that it requires a minimum intellectual skill of 8, while our inbred vault dwellers that we've enslaved are dumb as rocks and cannot even begin to comprehend how to make it. So it looks like I will have to personally oversee the production of medicine and then oversee the production of the Addictol that we make with said medicine. That's fine by me as long as we're making a pretty penny on it. As we are producing more and more drugs and then a drug to flush the drugs out of your system that is full of drugs, we also are going to begin spending our vast fortune of caps to reinvest back into the business. First and foremost, we're going to be spending a good bit of money upgrading all of our proxy raider settlements. This will make them bigger and stronger with the eventual hope that they will begin producing their own drugs, making us even more money. We're also going to spend some money on adult entertainment centers. The raiders are a bit of a fickle, rough bunch, and so you have to keep them entertained, and they like certain things. I think you understand. Since these are not our own people, and we hired them as basically mercenaries to set up settlements and drug labs on our behalf, they're not exactly too tickled with us at the moment. Let's just hope these upgrades and increases in happiness happen pretty soon, because I'd prefer not to fight a raider civil war. Perhaps they'd feel a bit better, though, if they had a proper name. And so, we are going to be naming our little proxy faction the Debt Collectors. An excellent name suggestion from our friend Jagawa1683. A fitting name because, as I explained before, not only will they be serving as farms for our herbal medicine and things like that, but they will also be serving as our fighting and defense force. So we could send them out to raid settlements who don't pay their debts. A wonderful idea. Wait a minute. What's this? Well, my bug meat has evolved into a bug meat, but larger and much more scary. Finally, though, the little freeloader can start chipping in around here by hunting some wasteland critters, and, well, I guess he can eat them, but he can also start bringing them home so that we can cut them up for leather or perhaps even dinner for ourselves. And you know what? Maybe it's just the kittens I've been taking, but I think he's just as cute as he was before. Nah, it's definitely the Kims talking. Well, after the evolution of our little slime ball, we also ended up receiving a quest for peace talks with the overseer of Vault 58. This might just be a step in the right direction. How interesting. Things are really going in our favor, huh? Oh, spoke too soon. The Enclave. What the hell are they doing here? Well, if I had to guess, I'd say their primary directive is to use those lasers and plasma rifles to murder us. Let's try to keep that from happening, shall we? Let's see what we're working with here. They seem to have some laser rifles, which, I mean, as do we, right? Not too concerning, though they also seem to have some large plasma rifles and a couple of assaultrons. I think we can definitely take them, but I am very concerned. Hello there, what do you have? Turbo plasma caster. Okay, 22 damage. Oh, holy shit. That thing is going to melt through our armor if we get hit. I don't know what to do. I don't know. We just have to fight them. This would be, I mean, they're preparing, it seems, for the attack. This would be the perfect opportunity if we had mortars, but we still haven't purchased any reinforced barrels. Everyone except for the slaves, of course, could go ahead and grab some Psycho. That would be great. Now, of course, Psycho is highly addictive. However, I need them, there we go. I need them to pick up the Psycho, of course, even if it is highly addictive, because this is the type of battle we might not win, right? There's a lot of Enclave soldiers outside, and we need every advantage that we can get, including taking some hard pharmaceuticals that are highly addictive. We do have our Addictol, though, so it really doesn't matter if we do end up getting addicted to anything, because we could always take the Addictol and then get rid of the addiction. The only thing that sucks about that is that's less Addictol that we can actually sell ourselves. Everybody has some except for Garrick. We're gonna get Garrick some. I think that should be everyone. Everyone's got some Psycho in their inventory. Now, something else that we can do, and we're most definitely going to be doing, is calling in some reinforcements from our proxy faction. Now, this is something else that we can do, though they're not exactly super strong. They might be able to help us out with the Enclave a little bit, even if it is just kind of, you know, distracting them. We do pay them quite a bit of money, so, you know, dying for us against these crazily technologically, oh shit, dying for us against the incoming Enclave assault is the least they can do. We will go ahead and start calling in some of our raiders to help us out. Now, you may notice here the military level of our Atlia, I believe, settlement, whatever they're calling themselves, is much lower. It's a 0 compared to a 1 on the others. I think this is the one that was attacked previously, and so they are severely hindered, I suppose you could say. Even so, though, they are here. So we have a few of our raiders coming in to help us out against the Enclave. I have a feeling they're going to die damn near instantly, but I suppose they'll try. I also need to bring our people down this way, at least into the hallway. That way we can begin engaging against the Enclave. I'll leave the slaves inside. I actually might put them all here in the bunker room just in case. And I'm also going to go ahead and bring Bugmeat with us, as he will be quite useful against the Enclave. So we're going to begin preparing. They are distracting the Enclave a little bit, but it's not much. Although I will say they're taking many of their troops over here to fight them, and that's going to leave us with one trooper, oh, the Assaultrons though, and a damn dirty power armor wearing one. So that's going to be a little difficult. Let us see if we can draw their attention though. We want to draw the attention especially of the Assaultrons before that right there happens. Yeah. I'm going to begin injecting everyone with Psycho. We'll start with Garrick, who has a crazy good shooting skill already, and this is going to increase consciousness, moving, blood pumping, melee damage factor. Not too interested in that. We don't want to get close to them. Range cooldown multiplier and shooting accuracy though. These are all very important. One of the Assaultrons is targeting us now. I think we need to try to move. We have psychite addictions. That's fine. We expected that. Everybody move out of the way of that Assaultron. Oh, son of a bitch. And there goes our laser turret. Okay, and we're about to lose some more, but we might be able to take down the Assaultron. There we go. Thank God for that. Let's keep moving. We're going to keep pressing them. Keep moving forward. Careful as to not get murdered by some of their soldiers, though. Let's see, Morticia, can we hit this Assaultron from here? This isn't exactly ideal, I'll say. Not exactly what I was expecting. We need to move, move. Son of a bitch. We need to get behind our defenses. I've done the best that I can to keep the Assaultrons from destroying our stuff, but there's not much I can do about this. Oh my God. Here we go. All right, everyone. Angus, try to distract them. Oh, shit. Move. Everybody move back. Go inside. Go. Angus. Oh, no. Not our sweet little Angus. He's okay, but he's very damaged. Damned Enclave. We need to take out their Assaultrons, though, because this is the biggest hindrance to us at the moment. Oh, Garrick is very injured. Garrick, oh God. A tri-beam laser rifle right in the left leg and shoulder. I'm gonna pull Garrick back. Keep your distance, Garrick, as much as you can. Let us take cover behind some of these areas here once more. I need Nelly. I'm gonna bring Nelly inside, and Nelly can come back out on this side. Hopefully we'll be able to ambush them from the side here. I think I'll send Melissa along with her. Alright, let's see what we can do. Nelly's gonna come out with the sword. Bugmeat also I'm sending out. Here we go, moment of truth. Oh, wow. Alright, well, Assaultron is down. Oh my God. Nelly, you absolute monster. I love you. Kill these dirty bastards. Thankfully, they are beginning to flee. I'm bringing everyone back inside. We're going to start injecting some stim packs while they flee and run away like cowards. Hopefully, I think we'll be fine. We might lose another turret or so on the way out, but they are actually leaving, getting the hell out of here. We also have yet another of the Enclave soldiers here in the power armor, Cheyenne. So, let us go and greet Cheyenne. First of all, we're going to strip her of that power armor. Cheyenne, are you worth keeping? Please, enlighten me. Holy... Great intelligence, good at construction. I think we might just try to keep you alive, Cheyenne. If nothing else, I'm sure some of our raider allies might be interested in taking on someone from the Enclave. Go ahead and haul in this power armor. We've got a depleted fusion core. We've got a massive hammer and a plasma caster. Good God. We also need to tend to poor Angus, who's out here very injured. How are we, everyone? Inject stim packs. I don't want anyone bleeding out. Not at all. Let's go ahead and inject as many of them as we can. We have some of our people. Sung Jun out here, who is burned pretty bad from the plasma rifle. We'll send out one of the Vault Dweller's slaves to go about rescuing her. She's one of our hired muscle and hired guns, so we want to ensure that we can keep her alive, as that's going to keep everyone in good spirits. As for the other that came, looks like we've already lost her. There is a third as well. Ah, yes, fallen down here. Surprisingly, I will say they have somehow survived. I was not expecting any of our proxy faction members, the raiders we've hired, to survive an encounter with the Enclave, but 2 out of 3 have, which is pretty incredible. Oh, we also have another Enclave trooper up here, Sparkles. Holy shit. The skills are absolutely insane on these Enclave members. I suppose that's what happens when you have a good, education. Let us go ahead and capture them as well. Holy. Hang in there, Angus. Mama's got you. Mama's got you, little fella. Hey, there you are. We've got a couple members of the Enclave, Sparkles and Cheyenne, who we are going to attempt to recruit. Looks like it may take a little while, but we will get it done. Now, all this being said, we took quite the beating from the Enclave, which it's also still a bit of a mystery how they even managed to find us here. I mean, obviously, we are getting a bit of a name for ourselves, but I don't know, they haven't attacked us up until this point. I just find it a bit strange. We do have the 2 Enclave soldiers, hopefully who will join us. If not, we'll sell them into slavery. When we sell Otto, who gives a shit about them, right? But they're friends here, they're colleagues. We'll be turning them into chem fuel, by God almighty. And we are also going to begin working on our defenses. Listen. I know I lost another laser turret, okay? I know, okay? But not to worry, as we will be replacing, all right? Take it easy on me. I can only do so much, okay? Take it easy on me. I'm just as disappointed as you are. Not much we could do there, and listen, nothing I could do, okay? But genuinely, there wasn't really anything I could do. I done everything correct. Nothing I could do. Okay, maybe there was something I could have done, but unfortunately, I kind of screwed the pooch there, right? I mean, the Assaultrons, they're a bit too powerful for me to just try to rush in and stop them from blasting the turret, so this is what we end up with. I apologize, but I would much rather lose one of our turrets than our lives, so I'm fine with it. I am content with it. Everyone's alive. Everyone's fine. We have 2 prisoners. You know, I mean, everything's fine. We're good. No worries. We should gain a bit of goodwill with our proxy faction after saving our pals here. They actually need some tending, though, as they have many a burn from those laser rifles. It seems like the Enclave members mostly had some death acidifiers, so I'm not really seeing too many weapons or anything, except for, like, some knives and stuff. Although, I suppose just getting out of that kind of fight against the Enclave with our lives is plenty enough. Nonetheless, I still wish we could have got our hands on some of that plasma weaponry. That weaponry is extremely dangerous, as we see with all the markings everywhere and then with all of our injured pals. But we shall rebuild bigger and better. I'm going to try to start working on some more landmines. I think this will really help us out when we have more Assaultrons and stuff who come to attack us, as I'm sure this is not going to be the last time that we see the Enclave here with their lasers and plasma weapons primed and ready to murder us. Funny enough, out of everyone who took the Psycho, I'm the only one who seems to have a Psychite addiction. So let's try the Addictol real quick. Nellie's just whipped up a new batch, it looks like. Let's take some and see if it actually works. Gonna huff on. Oh shit. I think I'm detoxing. I don't know how long this is going to last, but yeah, the detox cycle. It looks like looks like I'm gonna be taking a snooze for a few days. You guys tend to the lab, cook plenty of drugs, make plenty of money. I need to go rest for a minute, actually. While I take a few days to rest and to clean the chems from my system completely, in the meantime, our friends would be harvesting some of that smoke leaf that we've been growing, wasting no no time using this modest amount to go about making our new drug known as Med-X. Now again, we're really only making Med-X because we want some variety, right? And also because we like using our own chems. Now the reason I bring this back up is because Med-X is worth significantly less than Psycho, Jet, or especially Addictol. But in the, well, not really off chance, I would say, that we end up using it, it would be great to help us reduce our pain sensing to 0, as well as help us lessen incoming damage in the heat of battle. And really, that's going to be a great use for it, I think. Sometime later, one of our allies from the Debt Collectors was going to be leaving the area without a scratch on her after healing, and her companion surely wouldn't be far behind. But as our allies are continuing to heal and prepping for their long walk back home, and we are working on plenty and plenty of drugs, you know, I never know what to do in these situations except for show you some wonderful art. Today I have some wonderful pieces of art from our friend Frog E on Twitter, with one of them of course being Nelly in her buff mutant form as we know her in this series, and also some wonderful art here of Angus, who appears to be in anguish, if you'll excuse the rhyming, after one of our battles where one of his arms was tore off, of course. I absolutely love these. I always love the ones of Nelly in her mutant form now, especially as she's got that big buff and powerful energy, and of course I think this is the first bit of artwork we've ever seen anyone create of Angus, and he is by far one of my favorite characters throughout the Fallout RimWorld universe that we're creating. So thank you ever so much, and you guys be sure to go check out Froggy on Twitter, and just as well drop a follow to him if you don't mind. Feel free to drop the old Rat Daddy one as well while you're over there, and keep in mind that if you want to submit any fan art to be shown off in videos or just on the channel in general, Twitter's probably the best way to get a hold of me. Now then, it would seem I'm finally back on my feet and clean as a whistle, though I was a little bit depressed about the addiction and cleansing of the addiction, so I was wandering around in sadness. I'll be fine. However though, while I was showing you some wonderful artwork, it would seem that our little enslaved dwellers were working their little asses off, and now we have a shit ton of chems to go about selling. Yet no traders have come through recently. It would appear that we are going to have to take the chems to the Rancid Hawks. Very well then, it is a familiar journey at this point. I'll be taking myself, Bugmeat, Melissa, Nelly, and Helen, just in case we see any trouble, but also because we need to be able to carry all of those chems. Tagging along with us will also be Otto, who I am going to attempt to sell into slavery. Now you might be asking, Morticia, why are you spearheading a simple trade caravan? Well, my friends, after we drop off these chems for a lot of caps, we are also going to be headed to the peace talks with the overseer of Vault 58. A bit of diplomacy. Alright everybody, Mama's leaving. Angus? You're in charge. I knew you'd be excited. And without another word, our caravan would eventually head to the north towards the nearest Rancid Hawk settlement, which, to be honest with you, is of course going to take quite a while. And I don't just want to sit here and watch us walk the entire time, so, meanwhile, back at the base, Angus was putting the slaves to work. Right out in our courtyard here, where we plan on building our mortars, we are going to be building something of a structure, one that I think will give us a bit of security during battles, but also will be quite useful to us as it is going to be serving as a makeshift hospital. One that will also have an operating room, most importantly. Some of our members, like Johan for example, who lost many of his limbs before we even met him, require a few surgeries, and perhaps a few bionics if we can make them or find some ourselves. The only thing is, I don't really plan on doing any of these surgeries until we get some better equipment into these rooms, like back at Vault 15, all the medical equipment that we had left behind. I'm thinking next episode we'll make a trek back down that way to retrieve a lot of these lamps as well as other supplies that even a blind rad scorpion could perform a perfect surgery with. Of course the journey there is going to take a while, but I think it'll be was that? Are those Enclave troopers? Good God, what the hell are they doing back at Vault 15? Perhaps the Vault was some type of sick experiment or a proxy faction of the Enclave's own? I have no idea, but one thing is for sure. They have completely got the place on lockdown. I think we can still take it back, but we're going to need some help. They have absurd numbers, and they're highly armed and armored, as we well know. And as we well found out just a few weeks ago when they came to our home. Well, that's an issue for the future. We've got a lot going on right now, but we'll get around to that. One issue that we've had for quite some time is the fact that we're not really able to protect our tidal power generator, which is basically our main source of energy at the moment, so we are going to be building some granite walls around the little nuclear waste pond that it generates electricity from. I think this is going to save it, for the most part, from being destroyed constantly. I would really prefer if we didn't have to keep rebuilding all of our power generating methods, our turrets, things like that, so we want to make sure that things are well defended around the base, giving us ample opportunity to respond to threats before they bust through our walls and destroy all the important bits and bobs. Mostly because, components and other materials are very scarce in the wasteland. During these last few weeks, we have finally gotten Sparkles and Cheyenne to come around to joining us and leaving the Enclave in the past. It was a whole lot of threatening and a whole lot of maybe beating them some, but eventually we broke their spirits and their minds. Welcome aboard. Perhaps the most useful thing of all is that Cheyenne here is power armor trained, but not only does she know how to use power armor, she also has the Enclave's knowledge of how to build a power armor training pod, meaning that we are able to build our very own, and that our raiders will now be able to learn how to use power armor. This is a massive step forward. We were so grateful to Cheyenne for this, we would even allow her to don her old power armor as something of a thank you, I suppose. And also while she was wearing that, she's going to be able to protect us a lot better. A win-win. Then something rather interesting happened. Apparently Cheyenne wooed Brumbles, specifically by subtly complimenting her jawline. Well, that'll do it, I suppose. Here for only a few weeks and already breaking the rules, eh? Well, technically I guess dating the slaves was never against the rules, but it was kind of implied, Cheyenne. Ah, well, the heart wants what the heart wants, as they say. Speaking of which, my heart wants to make a shit ton of caps by selling a bunch of drugs to the rancid hawks. Lucky enough for me, it would appear that we're just about to arrive. Now, realistically, I wanted nothing more than to sell every single last bit and bob of Psycho, Jet, Addicto, so on and so on to them, but they couldn't exactly afford all the drugs, so we would only sell them as much as they could afford. The rest, I think, would make a nice gift for some potential allies. Speaking of which, I suppose it's time for us to start heading back towards the south, eh? And that way we can stop in at these peace talks and discuss with the great overseer Boland. Here goes nothing. Ah, a successful mission it would seem. Not only did we discuss peace, but we also kinda sorta maybe offered them a shit ton of jet. I wonder if that might have helped out things just a little bit. Yep, I can promise you it's the purest that you will find for those cloned mutants of yours, and the least that we can do for attacking your new vault. Hope we can start working together instead of against each other in the future. Alrighty then, a pleasure doing business with you and your vault dwellers. I look forward to our continued cooperation and shared business.